Hey there, comic book fans and honest citizens everywhere. This is part 3, we hope, the last part of a brief and rather informal movie series on creating the mighty Energy Girl comic book character. I'm her creator, middle-aged cartoonist Ken Bailey. Beautiful Saturday morning here. Come on along for a few minutes of whimsy and inane conversation as we finish our drawing. Here's where we are so far. As you can see, we started with a blank paper this morning and coming along nicely. Got some color in. When the camera's battery quit on me a few minutes ago, I was just discussing the fact that flesh color is very hard to find. I've only found one flesh color that really works halfway well for white people. And if you're a person of color, it's even more difficult because I have yet to find a good color that works for that color skin well. So, plea going out to the makers of the marker pens I use, if you could come out with a few more human skin colors, it would be much appreciated by we amateur cartoonists. That said, let's get onward and upward. We had been discussing in the first video about how with a superhero, especially a muscular one, and especially a muscular female one, there are a lot of round shapes. Now, besides the obvious, we also notice that the biceps, the triceps, the shoulders, are round shapes. The forearms are an elongated round shape. The legs are elongated round shapes. We also discussed the dynamics of how when the arm pulls up, the biceps contracts, the triceps pulls out, and vice versa when it's stretched out. How the legs work the same way. I don't know what that muscle is called, but since the leg is bent, you can see it's contracted there. Well, that's the calf muscle. Well, good for that. Farmers of the world, remind us cartoonists to not forget the name in honor of your animals when we are talking about human anatomy. Told you it would be an inane conversation. Well, okay, here we go. Onward. I want to finish this up. So, the last thing we can do to create the illusion of depth. You notice how we used a bit of cross-hatching, especially in the circular areas, to make it look like some areas are being hit more by the light, other areas are in shadow, which gives it a three-dimensional look. I mentioned how putting a brief halo around the character, that is about 1/4 or 1/8 inch of outlined white space, especially when we get the background wash in, makes the central character come out of the page from the background. The last thing we do is we can take a complementary color. We used yellow and red for the costume. A complementary color to yellow is orange, which is like yellow but just a bit darker. And what we do here is, again, accentuate the roundness of the round areas with a little bit of shading. Now again, I've started with the rather obvious round area, but we will deal with them all. Let's move on to the shoulder here. Biceps and triceps all get a bit of shading with the orange, with complementary color to the yellow. The other shoulder on down to the rib cage. We also want to highlight and outline areas where two areas meet, the area of the belt and the area of the bottom of the yellow there. Onward down to the legs. Again, following up with our theme of round. And even though we did not get down and finish the knees yet in the earlier episode, we're just going to go down that far. See how that's a big circle? And let's see, I need good old red for the boots. And again, we're not going to finish completely because this is just a demonstration. That would be, of course, yellow down there. But okay, you can see how that gives a look of depth. more than we had before. Lastly, we put in what's called a wash in the background. Now, since it looks like our character is leaping or flying or something, we will use a blue to add. We want something that is bright, but we don't want a real light color. The halo I spoke of earlier, this little 1/4 inch outline around the character, will cause the character to pop out from the background more if the background itself is a dark color, which will contrast well with the light color of the halo. Now, we got to be careful to stay within the lines here. Every kindergartner can tell you that, but some of we 50-year-old cartoonists occasionally forget or get clumsy. Take big broad strokes once you get clear of the lines. And we can just come up to within about 1/4 inch of the edge of the paper and then just stop there. This will leave an automatic frame-like white shape around the edge of the picture. You'll see the effect in just a minute. You can see how it's already starting to take shape there as we fill it in. Now, I am not the beginning and the end-all of the cartooning world, so I want you to understand that I am not giving you commands. I am just showing you some of the little things that work for me. You are welcome, except please don't use my character because she's mine. She is copyrighted, but come up with your own character. But that said, you're welcome to use any of these techniques that you want that you might find helpful in your efforts. I hope some of you out there are inspired by me or by others or by whatever to become cartoonists, because those of us that are out here are getting older and we need younger, newer blood to come take our place. Well, I could never do that. Well, I hope you don't, because again, this one is mine, but I want you to do yours. Basically, the thing that keeps more people away from cartooning than anything else I know is comparing themselves to others and saying, well, I can't do that. Well, we don't want you to do this. We're doing this. We want you to be free to express your own creativity, to take the little tricks of the trade that we have learned and then apply them to your own imagination and your own ability, and to find your own enjoyment locked up within your brain that is waiting to come out and delight the world in the world of cartooning. Like a certain famous person said, the only thing we have to fear, basically, is fear. And that applies to cartooning as much as it does to the situation he was talking about. So we have in these 3 short videos walked you through the creation of, from a blank piece of paper to something that is coming along well. A finished drawing that just basically took us about a half an hour as you watched. Now remember, I've been doing this for close to 50 years, so I've had a bit of a practice. I got a bit of a jump on you. But we all have to start somewhere. So, one last look here. Now it's your turn. For those of you who feel so inspired, I want you to go, grab a piece of paper, grab your own pencil or pen or whatever, and forge a brave new world for yourselves. Cartooning is fun, but the only way to find out is to get out there and do it. So good luck. Until next time, this is Boring Middle-Aged Cartoonist saying good day and get going.